He eats them whole, folks. Feathers and all. From the head to the toes. One of the nice things about whole raw feeding is they get a lot of moisture content in their food. So whereas kibble will dehydrate them, raw food helps hydrate them. And they drink less water because of this, which water's water. I mean, what's the big deal? Well, it's all that heavy, solid food sitting in their belly. That dry food that's going to absorb a bunch of moisture. And another thing too is, like with larger dog breeds, one of the concerns is bloat. Bloat can kill a dog very quickly. And with raw feeding, they are far less likely to run into something like that. I don't know that bloat was really a thing in, wild dogs and wolves. And then we domesticated them, and then we started feeding them kibble. Dry kibble. And that dry kibble sits in their gut, and they jump up and run around and play and are doing quick, fast maneuvers, and suddenly their stomach rolls over on itself and creates a kink, which then traps the gases in there that expand and can rupture and then kill the dogs. When they're eating raw like this, they're not consuming, a whole pound of dry food or more. They're not consuming a whole pound of dry food that's going straight into their stomach and then is going to sit there. This is a slower process, so he's been working on this for 5 minutes now, and he's only just started working into the shoulders. He's gotten some feathers down, he's gotten the head down, but he's still got a ways to go. So this process by which they consume the food a lot more slowly is really good for them, because it slows down that mass of food going straight into their stomach, sitting there and potentially causing a blockage. There's Bella. Bella, do you need a quail? It's interesting. You can really see the German Shepherd coloring in her coat here. The deep, dark saddle. And if she was a long-haired German Shepherd, you'd have a deep, dark saddle and then the flowing, feathering floofs. We're back out here again today to source materials for building the fort. So we've got some posts for the first platform. We've got a whole trailer full of odds and ends. This stuff, we didn't stack it very well, but got a plan to stack it next time a little better. We're gonna pull all this off, stack it so that we can access it, get a hold of it when we need it. And yeah, we found some pretty good pieces for just a rough, kind of a rough lumber log style fort. This is the part that's really hard for kids because it's so boring. Nobody wants to do this boring layout stuff, I get it. Well, that took some doing, but we are now perfectly straight here. Everything is on right angles. The way that it was, I eyeballed it, it looked straight, but we were actually gonna be a little bit obtuse on one angle. Well, acute, obtuse. There were gonna be two angles that were more acute, or the other two angles would have been more obtuse than the others, so. We were not straight. I'm really glad that I redid this off the house. So This is going to be exactly so far from the house, and we're going to have exactly enough space to get around this with the mower so we can mow around the fort. Anyway, we should be good now. This has been quite the little learning experience. Next time, just, you know, measure off something that's straight to get both your starting points and then go from there. So we are exactly 8 feet apart here, 8 feet apart there, and then we are 20 feet from here to that end and 20 feet from there to that end. And everything is perfectly straight. Actually, the test would be to measure kitty corner across. So let's just go ahead and do that this way. Now the other way we are 21 feet 5 inches, so that means we have perfect right angles. Right, so I really wanted to start with something straight and with right angles as far as the layout or the quote-unquote foundation of this, simply because that's going to make everything else so much easier to build, especially since we're going to be building without dimensional lumber. It's going to be a lot of measure, cut, place, measure, cut, place to figure out exactly how this is going to figure out how to build this, because I don't have a plan, I don't have a blueprint that I've drawn up that has, you know, okay, so many 2x4s, because we're not using 2x4s. We're actually going to put 4x4 posts in the ground. Putting the posts in the ground, that's going to give us at least a level and very sturdy starting point from which to build the rest of it off, because we're going to build this with a platform, so everything is going to be built above ground, probably about my height. So we'll go 6 feet, just an inch or so taller than me, and then build the rest out. Alright, let's see how deep this is. 18 inches. Really? That's all?